The point. Now, look, I know you well enough, James. We've known each other a long, long time. And I've watched as you've gone through being a campaign official, both at a federal level with the Liberal Party and indeed in other parts of the world. The simple messages are important, but the battler belt seats, the places where people, whether they've traditionally voted Labor or whatever they happen to do, whether they wear fluoro vests or a suit, people want certainty about where the future's going to be. They want a vision for the future. Bronwyn Bishop's right. Coal's got to be part of our future.
Coal is part of our future, and I can't believe we're talking about this. It has to be part of our future, not just because of what it does in terms of our energy supply, but because of jobs, especially here in Queensland.
Absolutely.
And we've had Anthony Albanese wandering around Queensland the last few days like a retired hat salesman.
No, more hat than cattle. Is what they say,
well, look,
anyway,
I don't know I don't know what he's been saying or what he's been doing, but you know what I say? Albanese, keep coming back to Queensland, please. I was president of the Bill Shorten Appreciation Society. Yes. We're having an annual general meeting next week, and we're going to turn it into the Anthony Albanese Appreciation Society, because this guy is a threat to the Queensland economy. And in terms of these 2050 targets, I'm going to say, as a Senator for Queensland, I am not going to support anything that's going to hurt the Queensland economy and hurt Queensland jobs over my dead body. We've got to stand up for jobs and stand up for the people who vote for us and whose values built this country, not a bunch of bumper stickers who like masquerading around an international fora.
Simon Birmingham talking about the possibility of interest rate rises. He's now the finance minister. It's the economy, stupid. It's the basics of the way government should run. We should be worried about interest rate rises that could affect the bottom line of the budget. But if we grow the economy bigger, we've got to find ways of getting that private sector, entrepreneurial class back at work. We shouldn't be just worried about the cost of money the government borrowed last year. We should be worried about the size of the economy in 10 years.
Oh, totally. The number one focus of the Prime Minister down to backbencher James McGrath, it should be all about what can we do to help grow the economy, and that is by cutting taxes, it's by cutting red tape, it's by making it easier for people to get out there and grow their business and employ people so people can get out there and then spend more money and grow the economy. We do have a national debt that, quite frankly, causes me to lose sleep at night. I'm one of those people. Gary, when you were our candidate for Moreton back in 1996, and yep. I think I'd reached the dizzying heights of the president of the Griffith University Liberal Club. Remember,
you were there.
$96 billion worth of debt under Keating and Labor. They're the best days. But it took 11 years to pay that back. It's going to take a long time to pay this debt back. And the only way we can do it is by growing the economy. And that means making government smaller and making the individual, making business bigger so they can help grow Australia.
The woke left don't like these traditions. Anzac Day is at the heart and soul of so many Australians. People, if we can't have the usual community gatherings, the one at Sunnybank here in Brisbane each year, got 3,500 people. It's huge. Last year, no one. I find that just awful. We want to get together and thank those who actually made it through their own personal effort, sacrifice, and everything they stand for, made it possible for us to have the freedom to discuss things like this. And yet we're told, no, that's disposable.
It is absolutely insulting how these governments, especially these Labor governments, are treating traditions of ours, important days like Anzac Day, like Australia Day, as sort of disposable throwaway Kleenexes, rather than trying to ensure that we commemorate these days. It is insulting to those who have served this country, it's insulting to their families, it's insulting to the rest of us. That if you do have some cause which allows you to put an armband on, regardless of the colour of the armband, yes, you can go out and you can have a grand old party in the street, but if you want to commemorate those who died for the freedoms that too many people in this country take for granted, no. And I remind people watching this, last year here in Queensland, the Chief Health Officer banned, to begin with, a flyover of planes.
Yeah.
Banned planes flying over because of coronavirus. This is people, 10,000 feet in the air. Banned them flying over. This is what we're living in. It's the inconsistency that Joe talked about, but it is actually a war a war on what we hold dear, and it's Daniel Andrews, it's those left-wing councils down south who are using this to rub out what brings us together as Australians.
The nonsense coming out of China this week, there's been a lot of nonsense, hasn't there? Apparently our universities have been dumbed down to make it easier for foreign students to pass. They're really having a go at us on multiple fronts. Our beef exports to China introduced the coronavirus into China. The WHO have given them a clear pass. You know, it can't have started in China, it must have started somewhere else. But our universities, James, surely our universities have to meet a standard to be a university.
Our universities are amongst the best in the world. Fact. And what we're seeing from China, to take up from what Bronwyn said earlier, is China is a threat to the rules-based order, not just in the Indo-Pacific, but the world. China is a menace. And I should say China, communist China.
Yeah.
Now, the first domino to fall has been Hong Kong. Hong Kong's gone, ladies and gentlemen. It is gone. It is now fully owned by communist China. And you can see what they're doing in Papua New Guinea. There is a reason why the son of the Prime Minister of the Solomons is going to university in Beijing. Now, I'm sure this student probably does have a fascination with Mandarin and Chinese history. He's going there because the Chinese are trying to influence, I think nefariously, what is going on in our backyard. And what China are doing is they're attacking our economy, whether it's by picking on the beef exports, our wine exports, and now they're coming after our universities. China, I don't want to talk about war, because but China is attacking our economy, and they're taking it sector by sector. And we've got to make sure we stand strong with Taiwan, with Japan, with Indonesia, with the European Union and the United Kingdom. I don't know what's happening with the United States, to make sure we've got a group of like-minded countries who can stand up against China. Because the nicest things you can say about them, they're a bunch of bullies, but they're actually far worse than that.
The BBC World Service not necessarily always reporting things the way I'd like to see it, but they are at least a free voice. Now, China said if they don't toe the line, they're off the air.
Oh, this falls into, bears defecated in the forest category, doesn't it? That China's actually banned a free media organisation. Surprise, surprise. China are on a certain path at the moment, and they're ensuring that their people are totally controlled. They're ensuring that information is totally controlled. They're ensuring that China is getting ready for expansion. And I've said before, Hong Kong is the first domino. What's going to happen in Taiwan? What are we going to do? And it's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. Troops are going to land in Taiwan. And what China is doing, it is making sure they're attacking our economy and making sure that media sources like the BBC, things like Facebook and other media sources are banned in China, so they're going to end up like North Korea but on steroids.
Australia has to provide some enormous leadership. We're the 6th oldest continuous democracy in the world. The US, the UK, Canada, Switzerland, Sweden, and New Zealand number 7. I mean, we do stand for stuff. We've got to back countries that have a similar ambition to be good democracies ahead of totalitarian regimes like the one we're seeing in Beijing.
Oh, Taylor, you've always got to choose between dark and light, and we've always got to choose light. We almost must stand for freedom and democracy. Taiwan stands for freedom and democracy. We stand with Taiwan. End of story. We've got to be there defending the Taiwanese. They are our brothers and sisters, and we've got to always defend that simple concept, democracy, because it is the sum of all of us.